Our discussion right now on the Supreme Court denial of the review and get another perspective on it. Joining me now is Katy Faust. She's the founder and president of Them Before Us, which is a global movement defending children's rights to their mother and father. Katy, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thank you for joining me.
Great to be with you, and what an honor, and makes it easy for me to follow Matt Staver, who laid out the case of what Kim Davis was attempting to do and how she has been targeted maliciously by these men for her firm stance and her convictions. So, you know, what Matt said is that Obergefell needs to be overturned on constitutional grounds. I would say Obergefell needs to be overturned on the grounds that it victimizes children. And so I agree with both of you that this is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And if I have my say, it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so let's explore this. I read an article by you that was just fantastic as you were laying out this case, that this was not the case to overturn Obergefell, but it's going to move forward, and we're going to, as Matt just said, I mean, he's guaranteeing that day is going to come. I think you share that opinion as well. But explain why this was not the right case to see Obergefell overturned.
Well, in my opinion, even though Kim Davis is a victim of gay marriage, but she is not the primary victim of Obergefell. The primary victims of Obergefell are the children. It's not really that she had to violate her conscience. That is too bad, and I'm glad that she has stood firm, and I wish to God that she got paid back the hundreds of thousands of dollars that those emotional children, those two men, demanded of her. But she's not the primary victim of gay marriage. What gay marriage did is it set in motion a process to strip children of their mother and father in law. And we have seen that over the last 10 years, that states and the federal government has in many ways stripped the words mothers and fathers out of their parenthood statutes. They have redefined infertility so that a single man, a single woman, two men, two women can have their IVF treatments, which would require a child lose their mother or father through that IVF treatment to be subsidized by their insurance companies or by the government in some cases. They've created new pathways for parenthood that don't have to do with a biological connection or an adoption recognition. It's simply acquiring a child through your intent to parent them. And so we've actually seen a huge overhaul of the law as a result of Obergefell. You know, we were promised that this was just about a personal relationship between two adults. You know, what two adults want to do in the privacy of their own bedroom, or we just want to have the insurance benefits that the heterosexual couples get. Nope, that's not what happened. The Supreme Court made husbands and wives optional in marriage. And as a result, mothers and fathers have become optional in parenthood laws. And when you look at that from the child's perspective, that's an injustice.
Yeah, let's go down that path, because I think, at least for most people, when they think of Obergefell, they think of a redefinition of marriage. But what you are bringing to light right now is that this also, and really probably at least every bit as important, maybe more so, is a redefinition of parenthood. So this decision was not just a redefinition of marriage, but a redefinition of parenthood. Unpack that for us just a little bit more. I think that's a powerful point.
What did Justice Kennedy say when he wrote his opinion on Obergefell? He said that same-sex couples should be afforded the same constellation of benefits as heterosexual couples. There can be no distinction between two men and a man and a woman when they get married. Now, the problem is that marriage is the center of marriage and family law. And when you swap out a procreative definition of marriage for a definition that validates the identity and the desires and the feelings of adults, what you're going to do is require that children conform to that identity. And that's exactly what happened. In the past, you know, we had close to 36 states that had defined marriage as between one man and one woman in their constitution or through a vote. And we had laws that exalted the natural family that said children need their own mother and father, or children do best when they're raised by their married mother and father. How long has it been since you've heard a politician say that? It's been about 10 years.
Wow.
Because what same-sex marriage did, in essence, it made stating and acting on that self-evident critical belief that children need their own mother and father to thrive, it made it discriminatory. It made it unconstitutional. And so now the law has had to deliver, it has had to facilitate something that nature prohibits. which is making two men or two women the parents of a child. And so we have seen wars over birth certificates. We have seen the redefinition of infertility. We have seen the gender neutralizing of parenthood statutes. We have seen a new invention of parenthood so that same-sex couples can acquire children through reproductive technologies that are unrelated and never have to go through the adoption screening that unrelated adults have to go through if they want to acquire parental rights over an unrelated infant. We have actually seen a complete overhaul of our parenthood laws because of Obergefell. So this was not simply about what two adults do in the privacy of their bedroom. This actually changed the way we regard the family and children themselves in our laws.
I think that's a powerful point. And you also brought up that how problematic it can be when courts deal with the wrong victim and have the wrong question introduced here. So go further in that. I mean, and I appreciate what you said about Kim Davis. I mean, our hearts go out to her and her religious liberties, all that sort of stuff. But as it relates to Obergefell, wrong victim, wrong question that went to the court. Explain that for us.
Yeah. So I'm no lawyer, but my understanding is that when you take a case to the court and it's the wrong victim or you're asking the wrong question, you'll get a wrong decision that can sometimes reaffirm a previous bad decision. So even though Kim Davis is a victim, she's not the ultimate victim. We do not need to bring a court case to the Supreme Court, in my opinion, that says, should a cake baker have to bake this cake? Should a woman have to arrange these flowers? Should Kim Davis have to sign this document? Like, that matters, but that does not ultimately matter. The question the court needs to answer is, does a child's own mother and father benefit them in ways that state-assigned adults do not? That is the question that the court needs to ask, because children are the ultimate victims. Christian adults who have to do something that violate their conscience, they are a victim. They are not the ultimate victim. The ultimate victim are children who lose their right to their own mother and father because the court has enshrined a false definition of marriage. So I am spearheading a national coalition, FRC is a part of it, where we are going to retake marriage on behalf of children. And we are going to bring the kind of cases that represent the right victim, children, and ask the right question. Do kids need their own mother and father? And if they say, yes, children have been victimized because of gay marriage, and yes, they do need their mother and father, then I guess they don't get the full constellation of benefits that were promised before, if those benefits involve delivering them somebody else's child. So that is what we are working to do. We are going to, we have a campaign in motion. If you want to go to endobergefell.com, you can just sign up there and I will keep you in touch. I will keep you updated on everything that we are working on. But in my opinion, we do need to make sure that the court reevaluates this decision. In my opinion, the Kim Davis case was not the one that was going to be asking the right questions or representing the right victims.
Well, we saw it take decades to finally see Roe overturned, and hopefully it won't take that long for Obergefell. We'll see. But the wisdom that you're bringing into all of this with getting the right victim and the right question, and God bless all these others as they come to the table. I don't want to minimize that, but your point that we have to have the right victim, in this case, children, and the right question, the importance of a mother and a father in those children's lives. And it's hopefully we won't see this take decades and decades. How do people need to be praying? We've got less than a minute, Katy. How do people need to be praying as this effort goes forward?
Pray for this coalition that my nonprofit, Them Before Us, is spearheading, for the church leaders, the conservative influencers, the heads of organizations that care so much about marriage and family. We need to retake marriage on behalf of children. This is not about adult fulfillment. This is about justice for the least of these. So pray. Pray that we can change hearts and pray that we can change laws.
We will do so. Katy Faust, founder and president of Them Before Us, thank you so much for joining us today on Washington Watch and for your great leadership in this battle before us.
Thanks for having me, Jody.